After my rebirth, the very first thing I did was plant a bug on my boyfriend. In my previous life, my sister, Gu Xiaoya, asked me to meet her at a bar the night before the college entrance exams, saying she needed me to help her unwind. But when I arrived at the bar, my sister was in tears, accusing me of hiring someone to assault her, and the one who violated her turned out to be my own boyfriend, Lin Hao. I tried to explain, but Lin Hao confessed in front of everyone, claiming I had put him up to it out of jealousy over my sister's academic success. Condemned by all, I was wrongfully imprisoned, lost everything, and eventually succumbed to depression, dying in endless despair and agony. Only after my death did I discover that it was all a scheme orchestrated by my sister and her boyfriend. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day my sister asked me to meet her at the bar. My phone rang, and with trembling hands, I answered the call. My younger sister's voice came through the receiver. "Sis, the college entrance exam is tomorrow. I'm so nervous. Come to the bar and help me relax, okay?" Hearing those words, I knew for certain I had been reborn. In my past life, my sister invited me to a bar to unwind, but when I got there, she was nowhere to be found. I called her, and she said she was busy with something and asked me to wait for her in the private room. But I waited for a long time without any sign of her, and her phone kept ringing unanswered. Just as I was starting to worry that something might have happened to her, she showed up with our parents. With tears streaming down her face, she pointed at me and accused, "Mom, Dad, my sister brought me to this bar and had Lin Hao rape me, all to stop me from taking the college entrance exam." Before I could even say a word, my parents immediately called the police. When the police arrived, I began to explain. Gu Xiaoya was the one who invited me to the bar, but when I got here, I didn't even see her. How could I possibly have arranged for someone to assault her? Besides, with the college entrance exams coming up, Lin Hao and I haven't seen each other for days. But then, to my surprise, Lin Hao suddenly appeared. He dropped to his knees with a thud in front of my sister, his eyes red, and said, "I'm sorry, Xiaoya. Suwan threatened to break up with me if I didn't assault you." I panicked in the moment. Lin Hao's statement was the final nail in the coffin, solidifying my guilt. As the police led me away, my parents looked at me with utter disappointment in their eyes. "How did we raise a daughter like you?" In the courtroom, Gu Xiaoya sobbed, her voice choked with tears. "My sister has always been jealous of my academic success. With my high chance of getting into Tsinghua or Peking University this year, she had Lin Hao." In an instant, the internet was flooded with a torrent of abuse directed at me. After being imprisoned, I struggled in despair every day, unable to comprehend why all of this had happened to me, and I eventually died of a broken heart. It wasn't until after my death that I discovered Gu Xiaoya and Lin Hao had been secretly involved with each other all along. As for Gu Xiaoya, her grades were poor, and she was terrified that the national college entrance exam would shatter the top student persona she had built up in front of her family. That's why she orchestrated this whole charade to avoid taking the exam. As for Lin Hao, he later managed to obtain forgiveness from my parents and Gu Xiaoya, ultimately evading legal punishment, and he went on to marry Gu Xiaoya, given a second chance at life. I will never let them succeed again. Chapter 2, Sis, why aren't you saying anything? Gu Xiaoya's voice pulled me out of my thoughts. I took a deep breath, suppressing the hatred in my heart. "Alright, I'll be there in a moment." Perfect. Jiangnan Bar, private room 1808. After hanging up, I immediately went out to the computer market and bought a miniature listening device. Once I got home, I called Lin Hao. "Hey, Wan, what's up? Xiaoya asked me to meet her at Jiangnan Bar. It's so late, and I'm a bit nervous about going alone. Would you come with me?" Lin Hao was visibly taken aback. But the college entrance exam is right around the corner. Shouldn't you be studying?" I said in a coaxing tone. "I've been stressed for so long. I just want to unwind a little." "What, you don't want to come with me? Fine, then I'm not going either." Lin Hao agreed immediately. "Of course I do. I'll come pick you up right now." Half an hour later, Lin Hao showed up at my door. "Hold on. Your clothes are a bit wrinkled." I pretended to help him adjust his clothes, seizing the moment to plant the listening device on the inside of his collar. Lin Hao smiled and put his arm around my shoulder. Wan, you're so thoughtful." I replied with a smile, though my stomach was churning, just like in my past life. When Lin Hao and I arrived at the private room in the bar, Gu Xiaoya wasn't there. Lin Hao looked around, his tone tinged with nervousness. "Looks like Xiaoya isn't here yet. It's fine. Let's just start singing." I picked a few songs and pulled him down to sit. Barely 10 minutes had passed before Lin Hao started checking his watch frequently, his impatience growing. I idly flipped through the songbook, watching the faint sweat on his forehead from the corner of my eye. "Why isn't Xiaoya here yet?" I asked, Feigning concern, Lin Hao stood up abruptly. I'm getting worried. What if something happened to her? I'll go look for her. I'll come with you, I said. Rising to my feet as well, Lin Hao immediately reached out to stop me. No, don't. If we both go out and Xiaoya arrives to an empty room, she'll be so disappointed. Wait here, I'll be right back. He practically bolted out the door without even waiting for my reply. A faint smile touched my lips. He was overplaying his hand, moving far too hastily. I took a deep breath and checked the time. It was just about right. I picked up the phone to call the police. Hello, is this 110? There's a girl being raped at the Jiangnan bar. After making the call, I stood outside the bar entrance. It was only then I noticed my hands were trembling slightly, not from fear, but from anticipation. After waiting for another 10 minutes or so, I sent a message to my parents. Xiaoya is in trouble at Jiangnan bar. Some thugs are harassing her. It's urgent. Get here now. My house wasn't far from the bar. In less than 3 minutes. My parents and a few relatives rushed to the bar's entrance together. Wan, where is Xiaoya? My mother's face was deathly pale, her voice trembling. I feigned panic, my voice trembling as I said, Mom, I just passed by a private room and heard Xiaoya scream, but I was too scared to go in alone. Which room? Take us there, now, my father urged, grabbing my arm urgently. Follow me. Chapter 3. I led them hurriedly down the corridor, drawing curious glances from waitstaff and patrons as we passed. This is the place, I announced, stopping in front of a private room. Without a word, my father kicked the door open. The scene inside the room froze everyone in their tracks. Lin Hao and Gu Xiaoya were entangled, their clothes in disarray. In the dim light, their expressions shifted instantly from rapture to panic. Mom, Dad. Gu Xiaoya was the first to react. She shrieked, shoved Lin Hao away, and frantically tried to pull her clothes back into place. What is the meaning of this? Her father demanded, his voice thick with anger. Gu Xiaoya's tears began to flow uncontrollably. My sister asked me to meet her here tonight, she cried out hoarsely. I thought she just wanted me to relax. I never imagined she'd send Lin Hao here to assault me. Lin Hao snapped back to reality and immediately dropped to his knees, his face etched with remorse. Uncle, Auntie, I'm so sorry. Guwan made me do it. She's always been jealous of Xiaoya's grades. To stop her from taking the college entrance exam, she forced me to. What are you talking about? I instinctively retorted, but was cut off by my father's furious roar. Guwan, how could you be so vicious? She's your own sister. Father was enraged, raising his hand as if to strike me. Mother covered her mouth, tears welling up in her eyes. How could I have raised a daughter like you? Uncle grabbed my father's arm just as he was about to strike me. Brother, calm down, calm down. Look what she's done. My father shook off Uncle's grip and pointed a trembling finger at me. A crowd of onlookers had gathered at the entrance to the private room, whispering amongst themselves. That's just cruel, isn't it? Jealous of your own sister going to college. Kids these days. Honestly, Gu Xiaoya started crying even harder at this. Dad, I have the college entrance exam tomorrow. Why would my sister do this to me? Lin Hao chimed in at just the right moment. Uncle, Auntie. I didn't want to either. But Guwan was dead set on ruining Xiaoya's exam. She even threatened to break up with me if I didn't go along with it. I stared coldly at Lin Hao, cutting him off. Lin Hao, are you absolutely sure I was the one who put you up to this? Lin Hao looked at me with a defiant sneer, stating with absolute certainty, who else could it be? It was you, just now in private room 1808. You told me you'd gotten Xiaoya to come here and pressured me into making a move. At that very moment, the bar manager hurried over with 2 police officers in tow. We received a report of a sexual assault at this location. Where is the victim? One of the officers asked sternly. Upon seeing the police, Gu Xiaoya burst into tears. Officer, she sobbed. My sister had her boyfriend assault me. All to stop me from taking the college entrance exam tomorrow. Lin Hao immediately put on a show of remorse. It's all my fault, I confess, he said. Guwan made me do it. Someone in the crowd whispered. Who called the police? How did they get here so fast? No idea, but it definitely wasn't the sister. Her boyfriend just confessed. Calling the cops would be like walking right into a trap for her. The officer scanned the room and asked in a routine tone, who called the police? Gu Xiaoya and Lin Hao were both taken aback and looked at each other. I calmly raised my hand. It was me. A sudden hush fell over the room. My father's mouth fell open, but no words came out. My mother stared at me in shock, as if she couldn't fathom why I was being so stubborn. You called the police. My uncle blinked, his disbelief evident. Gu Xiaoya's face cycled through a series of expressions before she finally spat out through gritted teeth. Officer, she's got a guilty conscience. She's afraid the truth will come out. So she's trying to get the jump on us. Exactly, Guwon is a psychopath. Jealous of her sister's future, so. Lin Hao chimed in eagerly. The officer frowned at them. Hold on, both of you, since you're both accusing Ms. Guwon, do you have any evidence? The evidence is him. Gu Xiaoya pointed at Lin Hao. He can testify that Guwon put him up to this. I let out a cold laugh. What a perfect little act you two have going. All eyes turned to me in unison. I suppose, apart from Lin Hao as a witness, they don't have any solid evidence to present, do they? In that case, why doesn't everyone hear my evidence first? I took my phone from my pocket and opened the audio file. Everyone, listen to this before drawing any conclusions. Chapter 4. Gu Xiaoya's voice sounded from the recording. Why are you so late? Lin Hao's face instantly turned pale. Guwon kept holding me back. It was hard to get away. Lin Hao replied in the recording. Gu Xiaoya reached out to snatch my phone. This is fake, officer. She's framing me. The officer stopped her. Ma'am, please calm down. Let's hear her out. Are you sure about this? Isn't it going too far? Right now, everyone in my family except my older sister thinks I'm a top student. If this gets exposed during the college entrance exams, I'll never be able to hold my head up at home again for the rest of my life, and our whole situation might just fall apart. Gu Xiaoya's face turned deathly pale. The recording continued to play. No one can find out I can't get into university because of my grades. This is the only way. Just follow the plan. Tear my dress, then turn yourself in and say Guwon put you up to it. I'll handle the rest. Upon hearing this, the parents' faces turned ashen. What if we make the fake drama real? Upon hearing Lin Hao's suggestion, the onlookers began to murmur and discuss among themselves. So they're a pair of despicable lovers. You're trying to avoid the college entrance exam because of your own poor grades, and now you want to frame your own sister. That boyfriend is actually helping someone else slander his own girlfriend. What a scumbag. As the recording ended, I looked at the terror in Lin Hao's eyes and said coldly, I sensed something was off with you two a while ago, so I took precautions. If you're claiming I forced you to assault Gu Xiaoya just now, then how do you explain this recording? Lin Hao knelt on the floor, not even daring to lift his head. Gu Xiaoya, however, still refused to concede. It's fake. She knows how to code. It has to be a synthesized voice, the officer replied sternly. Whether it's a composite or not can be easily determined through technical analysis. If it's a forgery, your sister will face legal consequences. The officer looked at Gu Xiaoya and Lin Hao. You two, come with me to the station to assist with the investigation. Gu Xiaoya's face turned deathly pale. She clutched at her own hair and screamed, No, you can't do this to me. I have the college entrance exam tomorrow. Lin Hao hung his head in defeat, having resigned himself to his fate. How could my child have become like this? The mother murmured, her voice trembling as she collapsed onto the sofa. Father glared at Gu Xiaoya, his fist clenching and unclenching. Is what was said on that recording, is it all true? Speak, Uncle barked sharply. Gu Xiaoya looked around and saw the warmth had vanished from everyone's eyes. Her tears began to fall uncontrollably. My sister forced me into this. She's always been jealous of me, jealous that my grades were better, jealous that you all loved me more. I was only trying to protect myself. The crowd of onlookers was beginning to grow indignant. And she's still trying to talk her way out of it. The recording clearly shows she set the whole thing up herself, but she claims her sister is jealous of her good grades. I stared into Gu Xiaoya's eyes, a cold sneer playing on my lips. I'm jealous of your grades. Are your marks really as good as you say they are? Of course. Gu Xiaoya lifted her head and straightened her back. I'm always near the top of the class. My teachers all say I'm a gifted student. Chapter 5. Oh, really? Did it ever occur to you that I might have your homeroom teacher's number right here? I took out my phone and dialed the number. Hello, Ms. Zhang. This is Guwon, Gu Xiaoya's older sister. Guwon, what brings you to call at this hour? The college entrance exam is tomorrow. How is Xiaoya's preparation going? Came the voice of a middle-aged woman from the other end of the line. Teacher, my parents wanted to get a true sense of Xiaoya's performance in class. Could you tell us about it? There was a pause of several seconds on the other end. Well, to be honest, I've been meaning to find an opportunity to speak with your parents. That child, Gu Xiaoya, has consistently performed poorly. She's failed multiple exams and only managed to scrape by on her final exams through retakes. For this year's college entrance exam, I'm afraid it will be very difficult for her to meet the minimum score requirement. Gu Xiaoya collapsed to the floor, as if all the strength had been drained from her body. Thank you, teacher. I hung up the phone, looked around the room, and finally let my gaze settle on my parents. Dad, Mom, I've been the one going to my sister's parent-teacher conferences since middle school. The report cards she showed you were all fake. Did you really never notice? All you remember are the few competitions she supposedly won. But you never knew she just bought those certificates. All you ever wanted was a child who could make you look good, but you never cared if that shine was even real. My parents lowered their heads in shame. And you, I said, turning to Gu Xiaoya, I tried to protect your fragile ego, and this is how you repay me. Gu Xiaoya fell to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. I just wanted to make mom and dad proud. When we were kids, they were always going on about how perfect you were, sister. I couldn't take it anymore. Among the onlookers, someone shook their head and sighed. So it was all an act, a fake prodigy. That poor girl has it so rough. Seeing all her lies exposed, a flash of despair crossed Gu Xiaoya's eyes before it twisted into madness. You still don't know what kind of person she is, do you? She shrieked, pointing at me. Gu Wan is a homewrecker. Lin Hao was my boyfriend. Everyone in the private room was stunned, not expecting there to be more juicy gossip. Not only did she try to seduce Lin Hao, she also encouraged other students to bully me. Gu Xiaoya wiped her tears, her expression twisted. Everyone at school knows she has a terrible character. Lin Hao, as if grasping a lifeline, quickly chimed in. That's right, Gu Wan has been trying to seduce me all along. Xiaoya is my true love. I was just momentarily led astray. I shook my head, watching them perform this pathetic little drama. Me, seducing you. Should we show everyone the chat history between the three of us? Let everyone see who's really been doing the seducing. Lin Hao was instantly silenced, his face turned even paler than before, and he lowered his head, not daring to utter another word. A sound of disgust came from the crowd. What a disgusting man. First, he betrayed his girlfriend, then he sold her out, and to top it all off, he had the gall to turn around and blame her. Uncle stepped forward, patted my shoulder, and said, I always said Wan Wan was a sensible child from a young age. She could never do such a thing. He turned to Gu Xiaoya, his tone severe. So it was you little liar, who was spinning tales all along. What a disgrace to the family. I smiled, my gaze sweeping the room before finally settling on Gu Xiaoya. Everyone, I forgot to mention something. I raised the phone I'd been holding all along. I've been live streaming since the moment I walked into this private room. Gu Xiaoya froze for a moment. Then her eyes widened in horror. What did you just say? Chapter 6. I turned my phone screen to face the group, and the live stream chat scrolled by like a blizzard. This younger sister is pure evil, framing her own sister to get out of the college entrance exam. She's completely unhinged. My heart breaks for the older sister. She went to a parent-teacher conference for her, and this is the thanks she gets. The live stream viewership has surpassed 1 million. Gu Xiaoya's legs gave way, and she slumped to her knees on the floor. Lin Hao was also stunned, his lips trembling, unable to speak. Impossible. This can't be, Gu Xiaoya muttered to herself, her gaze vacant. A waiter nearby whispered to a colleague, I shared that live stream too. It was absolutely wild. Their father stood in the corner, watching the scene with a complicated look in his eyes, while their mother was already crying too hard to speak. Just then, a notification popped up on the phone. Hashtag on the eve of the Gaokao. Younger sister and boyfriend conspire to frame top student sister. Hashtag sister of the year. For all the wrong reasons. Hashtag, it's already trending. Gu Xiaoya broke down in tears, her makeup streaking down her face. The police officer stepped forward and said sternly, come with us. We need to take you to the station for further questioning. But I have the college entrance exam tomorrow. Gu Xiaoya protested weakly as a last resort. Do you really think you'll be in any state to take that exam tomorrow? I sneered, savor the taste of your own ruin. After the police took Gu Xiaoya and Lin Hao away, the commotion in the private room gradually died down. The jeering onlookers drifted off in twos and threes, leaving only me and my stunned parents and relatives behind. My phone kept buzzing with notifications, each new trending topic rocketing up the charts one after another. My father stood in the corner, his gaze evasive, looking as if he had aged 10 years overnight. My mother wiped her tears, hesitated, then walked towards me and reached out to take my hand. Wan, I was wrong. We were so foolish. I took a step back, avoiding her hand. What's the point of saying all this now? If there was no recording, would you have just decided I was the killer? My father hung his head, his voice hoarse. We were fooled by Xiaoya. We never saw her for what she was. Why didn't you notice? I sneered. Because in your eyes, whoever can make you look good is the only one who truly matters. Wan, my mother called out, her voice choked with emotion. I thought for a moment and said, Dad, Mom, let's not talk about this anymore. I have the college entrance exam tomorrow, and I don't want it to affect my mood. My father opened his mouth to speak, But in the end, he said nothing, only nodding his head. The next day, my parents saw me off outside the examination hall. Before I went in, they seemed to have something to say but held back. I just gave a nod and turned to walk into the hall. After the college entrance exams were over, my father received a phone call. Xiaoya was under too much pressure, had a mental breakdown, and was sent to a psychiatric hospital, he said, putting down his phone, his tone complex. The corner of my mouth lifted slightly. Oh, what a shame. Lin Hao was also expelled from school, my father added. Chapter 7, serves you right. My parents have done a complete 180 in their attitude these past few days. When I got up in the morning, the dining table was laden with all sorts of exquisite breakfast dishes. Wan, have some more glutinous rice balls. They used to be your favorite, my mother said solicitously as she piled food into my bowl. When I got home in the evening, a spread of my favorites was already waiting on the table, braised pork ribs and steamed sea bass. Tired, how about some soup, my father said, handing me a bowl of savory seaweed and egg drop soup. Ever since my younger sister started cultivating her straight-A student persona at home, I hadn't been treated like this. I responded with polite detachment, neither refusing the gestures nor embracing them. An unexpected visitor arrived at the house that day. Hello. I'm Wang Mingyuan, the defense attorney for Gu Xiaoya. The middle-aged man handed over his business card and sat down on the sofa with a serious expression. Can I help you? I asked. The lawyer cleared his throat. Gu Xiaoya's trial is about to begin, but her mental state is highly unstable. Doctors have diagnosed her with severe depression and anxiety. I let out a cold laugh. What's that got to do with me? If you could write a letter of forgiveness, the court might consider a more lenient sentence. After all, you are sisters, and she is still young. I caught the implication. Gu Xiaoya was trying to play the victim card again. Her mental state is poor. She needs treatment, not punishment, the lawyer urged persuasively, standing to the side. My mother said anxiously, Wan, maybe you should think it over. Xiaoya is, after all, your sister. My father also murmured quietly. She's already been punished. She's still living in the psychiatric hospital. I looked at them, my gaze growing cold. If I had truly ordered Lin Hao to rape her back then, would you have gotten her to forgive me? My parents exchanged a look and fell silent. You know the answer. I turned to the lawyer. Please tell Gu Xiaoya to stop this pointless struggle. I will not write any letter of understanding. And I will insist on pursuing her legal liability to the fullest extent. The lawyer stood up awkwardly. I understand how you feel, but I hope you'll reconsider. There's nothing to consider. Counsel, the door is over there. Not 2 days after he left, Lin Hao's parents showed up at the door. Young lady, I beg you, please let my son go. Mrs. Lin cried out, kneeling in the living room. He has his whole life ahead of him. Are you trying to ruin him forever by being so relentless, Mr. Lin's voice trembled, yet carried an accusatory tone. I watched the farce unfold with cold detachment and picked up my phone. Hello, police, there's someone causing a disturbance at my home. Could you please send someone to handle it? They stared at me in shock, clearly not expecting me to take this step. How can you be so heartless, Mrs. Lin shrieked. The police arrived promptly and escorted them from my home. That evening, I contacted my lawyer and issued a public statement. I, Gu Wan, hereby declare that I will not grant any form of leniency to Gu Xiaoya and Lin Hao for their act of false accusation. I will insist on pursuing their full legal liability through the judicial process. After reading the statement, my father sighed and said, Can you really not give her another chance? Chapter 8, Hasn't she been given enough chances already? I retorted, but, Dad, if I weren't Gu Xiaoya's sister, but just an ordinary victim, would you even be asking this question? Father fell silent. The trial of Gu Xiaoya and Lin Hao commenced. In court, the two persistently offered feeble excuses, playing the part of pitiful victims. It was a moment of madness. I didn't think about the consequences. Gu Xiaoya sobbed in her defense. Lin Hao hung his head. I only did those things to help her because I care for Xiaoya so much. I sat in the plaintiff's seat, watching the spectacle unfold with cold detachment. The judge, expressionless, brought down the gavel. Gu Xiaoya, Lin Hao, you are hereby sentenced to 3 years in prison for the crimes of defamation and false accusation. Upon hearing the verdict, their faces turned ashen. Gu Xiaoya broke down in tears on the spot. Lin Hao's parents wailed from the back row as if the world were ending. All I felt was a wave of relief, and a smile touched my lips. The law delivered the punishment they deserved, and a great weight was finally lifted from my heart. The injustice from my past life was completely vindicated in that moment. 1 week after the case concluded, the National College entrance exam results were announced. My fingers trembled slightly as I refreshed the web page. The screen displayed my score, 640 points, placing me in the top 50 of the entire province. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I could finally fulfill the university dream I had missed in my past life. My parents rushed to my room after learning about my results. 1-1. Congratulations. Father's voice was choked with emotion. Mother stood to the side, continuously dabbing at the corners of her eyes. 1-1. We support every decision you make. Seeing their look of both joy and guilt, I didn't say anything, just gave a slight nod. The acceptance letter arrived soon after. I had chosen the university farthest from home. On the day I was packing my bags, my father handed me a letter. This was forwarded by the institution, he said. It's from Xiaoya, for you. I almost threw it away right then, but after a moment's hesitation, I opened it. Sister, I'm sorry, I'm in therapy now, and I finally realized how terrible I was. The letter also mentioned her nightmares, her regret, and her plea for forgiveness. After reading it, I felt nothing. I simply folded the letter and placed it at the very bottom of the drawer. On the day of my departure, my mother packed a huge bag of snacks and daily necessities. Let us know if you need anything for your dorm, she said. My father helped me with my luggage, hesitating before he spoke. You'll be out there all by yourself. I'll take good care of myself, I said, cutting him off. At the station, as we said our goodbyes, my mother, her eyes rimmed red, pressed a bank card into my hand. There's no need. I've applied for a scholarship, I said, trying to hand it back. My father took my hand. Consider it our way of making it up to you. Please, take it. The guilt in his eyes left me speechless. In the end, I just nodded and accepted it. The train began to move, and my parents outside the window grew smaller and smaller. I leaned back in my seat, my thoughts drifting back to the moment of my rebirth. I once thought I lived only for revenge. Now that the debt is settled, I find there is so much more to life. The train passed through a tunnel. Emerging from the darkness into a blinding sunlight, I smiled, feeling like this train, heading towards a future that was unknown yet brimming with possibility. It was drizzling on the day I arrived at the university, with new students holding umbrellas as they searched for their dormitories. Hey, you must be Gu Wan, I'm your roommate, Zhao Yusen. A girl with a ponytail waved at me. Two people were already in the dorm making their beds, and they greeted me warmly when I walked in. A new environment, new friends, it's a fresh start in every way, I thought, finally letting my guard down. That evening, the four of us in the dorm room sat up late, sharing our stories and dreams. I didn't mention the shadows of the past, only my hopes for the future. Just before falling asleep, I got a message from my parents. Did you arrive safely? Is everything okay? I replied, everything's great, I really like it here. My first semester of college was like a dream. I quickly formed deep friendships with my roommates, who accepted me without prejudice for who I truly am. In class, I was fully engaged, and the professors often praised my insights. The library became my second home. The quiet and the ocean of knowledge there brought me a sense of peace I'd never known before. Joining the debate team, I found my confidence again in the feeling of defending truth with words. Having left the shadows of the past behind, I can finally be my true self. Gazing at the starry sky outside my window, I often think back to that night of rebirth. I once believed life was only for revenge, but now I understand it holds infinite possibilities. The future is like a brand new book, with every page waiting for me to write my own story. This time, I will live vibrantly, live without regrets, and live for myself. The end. Story 2. Silas Jiang's personal assistant brought him home late at night. Sis, Mr. Jiang drank too much covering for me. Sorry to trouble you with looking after him. He's not himself when he's drunk. Gets all clingy and a bit sulky. Do me a favor and don't be mad at him, okay? The young woman was draped in Silas Jiang's bespoke suit jacket, her challenging gaze holding a clear, fearless defiance. Silas Jiang leaned against her, reeking of alcohol, the faint smudge of lipstick just visible on his white shirt. It suddenly occurred to me. I was the one who taught Silas Jiang how to climb to the top. I just never got around to teaching him how to fall. I woke up in the middle of the night, and Silas Jiang still wasn't home, a little surprised. I lay there with my eyes open, slowly coming to my senses. In 3 years of marriage, this had never happened before. I fumbled for my phone and called him. It just rang and rang until it went to voicemail. He never picked up. I called the driver. Oldly said that at 6 in the afternoon. Silas Jiang told him to go home first, as he had a business dinner and would drive himself. Unable to sleep, I simply threw on some clothes, went downstairs, and sat in the living room reviewing the corporation's quarterly financial report. The clock hands slowly crept toward 2 in the morning when a sound came from the front gate. A sweet, cooing voice reached my ears. Mr. Jiang, not so tight, please, I can barely breathe. I turned around and saw two figures entwined. Silas Jiang, reeking of alcohol, had his arm slung over a young woman's shoulder, leaning most of his weight on her. The young woman's face was flushed a deep red, her skin so tender it looked as if you could pinch water from it. Upon seeing me, the young woman quickly straightened up, though her arm remained wrapped around Silas Jiang's waist. "Hello, Mrs. Jiang, I'm Luna, Mr. Jiang's new secretary. Mr. Jiang took me to a business dinner tonight. He drank a bit too much while covering for me. I'm so sorry to trouble you with looking after him. You might not know this, Mrs. Jiang, but when he's had a few, he tends to get a bit clingy with me and acts a little childish. Please be understanding and don't take it to heart." I crossed my arms and studied her carefully. In her early 20s, she had an innocent face, yet the ambition in her eyes was unmistakable. The bespoke suit jacket by Silas Jiang draped over her shoulders couldn't conceal the cheap, ill-fitting white dress she wore underneath. The look she gave me was defiant, clear, fearless, and foolish. I almost felt like laughing. I turned to look at Silas Jiang. On his white shirt, right over his chest, a lipstick mark was faintly visible. It was the exact shade of Luna's lipstick. My face went cold and expressionless as I called out to him, "Silas Jiang." Silas Jiang looked up at me, his hand reaching out reflexively. "Esme." My head hurt so much, I took a step back. Silas Jiang lost his balance and was about to fall. Luna rushed forward and wrapped Silas Jiang in a tight embrace. She shot me a disapproving look. "Sis-in-law, you live in a huge mansion, spend money like it's nothing, and yet as his wife, you haven't learned to appreciate how hard Mr. Jiang works. Without him, could you possibly live this life of luxury?" I feel genuinely chilled to the bone on Mr. Jiang's behalf. I stared at her, my face expressionless. She instinctively took 2 steps back, still clutching my husband tightly in her arms. "So, you're Luna, is that right? I'd like to ask, from what position or by what right are you feeling chilled to the bone for my husband?" Luna's face flushed crimson, her neck stiff with tension. Unable to utter a word, I turned and instructed the butler, "Uncle Chen, the young master has had too much to drink. Bring up a basin of cold water to sober him up." Uncle Chen had been standing at a respectful distance. Upon hearing my order, he stepped forward and pulled Silas Jiang off of Luna. A servant brought a basin of cold water and doused Silas Jiang from head to toe. Amid Luna's screams, Silas Jiang gradually came to his senses. Staggering to his feet, he frantically reached out a hand toward me. "Esme, please, let me explain." Silas Jiang walked towards me, but stopped a few paces away, afraid the cold water on him would get me wet. "Esme, I didn't do anything to betray you," I scoffed. "Didn't do it, or just didn't get the chance to." Luna suddenly wedged herself between me and Silas Jiang. Her face was flushed, her eyes were red, and her voice was choked with emotion. "Mr. Jiang, when I was being forced to drink by the client tonight, you said you'd give me a promotion tomorrow. About this, do you think you need to check with your wife first?" Silas Jiang's expression turned cold. Luna's tears fell like scattered pearls. One by one, she covered her face and slowly sank to a crouch. "Mr. Jiang, I'm sorry, I know I overstepped, but I want so badly to make it in this city on my own." Silas Jiang fell silent for a few seconds. I knew that Silas Jiang was most likely recalling his own days of poverty and struggle at the very bottom. Sure enough, he reached out and gently patted her head. "This small matter is something I can decide. You head back for now. I'll sort out the promotion tomorrow." Luna's tears turned to a smile. She shot me a challenging look, then stood up and headed for the door. I called out to stop her. "So, you're Luna." Just a friendly reminder. The only marks allowed on Mr. Jiang's white shirt are my lipstick, and the blood of his rivals. After Luna left and Uncle Chen dismissed the staff, the once noisy living room fell silent, leaving just Silas Jiang and me. I sat back down on the sofa with a blank expression and picked up the financial report. Silas Jiang sighed and rubbed his forehead in exasperation. "Esme, you're being too sensitive. Luna is just my secretary. Ours is a perfectly normal professional relationship." I ignored him. Silas Jiang was crouched down in front of me. "Esme, I will never forget for the rest of my life that without you, I might have never left that small mountain village. You funded my education, taught me the ways of the world, and single-handedly helped me rise to the position of CEO at Yachin Group. How could I ever do anything to betray you? Esme, I never will." I set the financial report down and watched him in silence. Silas Jiang is the man I chose for myself. I funded him, and after he began to show promise, I kept him by my side, patiently teaching him everything my mother had taught me. I am a capital heir who values profit above all else, yet with Silas Jiang, I exercised the greatest patience of my life. At this moment, his slicked back hair, drenched by the water, lay flat and limp against his head, after he had embraced another woman right in front of me. He told me he would never do anything to hurt me. He still sits in the CEO seat at Yaochen, where any single move could affect the entire situation. I hope he's smart enough to weigh the pros and cons. Silas, I taught you never to bring lies or filth into this house. The clock hands pointed to 3. I stood up and headed upstairs. Silas Zhang's voice came from behind me. Esme, are you sure you don't want to hear my side of the story? I stood on the stairs and did not look back. Silas, Luna's performance is not sufficient for the role of the CEO's secretary. I do not agree with her promotion. I suggest we move her away from the corporation's inner circle. She is not to be trusted. Perhaps emboldened by the drink, Silas Jiang let loose for once. He shouted at me, Esme, from the very first day I met you, you've always had this air of superiority, this look of having everything under control. You're always so composed, always able to step outside your emotions and handle anything. Have you ever felt panicked? Have you ever been afraid? Have you ever given of yourself, truly and sincerely? I even wonder, if one day I were to die, would you first calculate the gains and losses, rather than grieve for losing me? I stood on the stairs for a long, long time, so long that Silas Jiang slumped to the floor, muttering to himself, I knew it, I just knew it, in your heart, I will never be as important as money. I turned and looked down at him. If I had no money, how could I have dragged you out of that little mountain village? You can't bite the hand that feeds you. Silas Jiang slept in the guest room. When I got up the next day, he had already left for work. I was having breakfast while habitually opening the company's internal email. The latest email was from the president's office. It stated clearly that, with the approval of President Silas Jiang, Luna was appointed as the special assistant to the president, effective immediately. My hand, holding the glass of milk, froze mid-air. I stared at the bold, black letters spelling special assistant to the president for a long time. I flung the milk glass in my hand across the room. The man I chose with my own hands has, in the end, turned his heart elsewhere. Looking at the glass shattered all over the floor, it was like watching the period I thought was the most intimate between Silas Jiang and me, breaking into pieces. I am not happy. At that moment, a WeChat message came in from Ling Jin, the group's deputy general manager. I opened the image. It was a screenshot of Luna's latest social media post. She took a selfie sitting in Silas Jiang's office chair, with Silas Jiang faintly visible in the background making coffee. The caption read, sitting in the boss's chair, drinking the boss's coffee. I'm so in awe of him my knees have gone weak. Silas Jiang was the first to hit like. Ling Jin's second message came right after. Silas Jiang has some nerve. I lit a cigarette and was about to reply to Ling Jin when a new contact verification popped up on WeChat. Silas Jiang sent over a contact card. The person requesting to connect is Luna. I raised an eyebrow. Looks like not only is Silas Jiang pretty gutsy, but this little birdie has some nerve too. I accepted the request, and Luna's messages started popping up one after another. Hello, Mrs. Jiang, allow me to introduce myself properly. I'm Luna, Mr. Jiang's executive assistant. Mr. Jiang has asked me to report his daily schedule to you. Mr. Jiang was in a terrible mood when he arrived at the office today. I took him to the old street for some soup dumplings, and he finally smiled. He told me that soup dumplings used to be his favorite food. Ever since he's been with you, he can only accompany you to eat all sorts of exquisite cuisine, but he doesn't find any joy in it at all. Sis, you're used to a life of luxury. Let me take your place and show Mr. Jiang the simple, down-to-earth pleasures. Notifications kept popping up, and my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. I had just about calmed down. But now my temper is starting to flare up again. Everything in this world, as far as I'm concerned, falls into just two categories. What I want, and what I don't. There's no such thing as being taken away. I picked up my phone, called for Uncle Chen, and headed to the company. Standing outside Silas Jiang's office, I could hear laughter coming from within. I raised my hand to knock, and the playful laughter inside stopped abruptly as Luna opened the door. When she saw me, a faint, ambiguous smile played on her lips. Sis, are you here to see Mr. Jiang? You might have to wait a bit. Mr. Jiang is a little tied up at the moment. The words had barely left my mouth when Silas Jiang's sharp rebuke followed. Luna, as if by magic. Luna's eyes instantly welled up with tears. Not in the mood for her little performance, I spoke up. I'm not looking for Silas Jiang. I'm looking for you. Come with me. Luna stood her ground, refusing to move. Listen, ma'am, you need to get this straight. I'm Mr. Jiang's personal assistant, not yours. You can't just order me around like this. My gaze went past her, landing on Silas Jiang behind her, and I smiled. Silas Jiang. For the first time, Silas Jiang's expression changed. and he nudged Luna. What Esme says, goes. Do it. Luna followed me to the CEO's office door. Dragging her feet the whole way, the secretaries inside all stood up in unison upon seeing me and chorused, "Good morning, miss." Luna sneered at their reaction. "Are you serious? She's Mr. Zhang's wife. I could understand if you called her madam. What's with the young mistress thing?" No one paid her any attention. I pulled 10 cards from my bag, giving 2 to everyone except Luna. Their eyes lit up with excitement at the sight of the cards. "Oh my god, it's a genuine custom card from Zune." "My goodness, miss, is this for us?" "It really is Zune, it really is. I've been on the waiting list for 5 months and still couldn't get an order for their clothes." I nodded. "Take this card to Zune to get 2 sets of work uniforms custom fitted. The cost is on me. I've already spoken with them. The custom tailoring will take about a month. In 1 month, everyone's work attire will be uniformly switched to Zune suits. You'll receive 2 new sets of work uniforms every quarter." Before Luna could process what was happening, she asked blankly, "What about me?" I laughed. "You're wearing one too, of course, special assistant he." She was so frantic she was stamping her feet. "I mean, where's my card? Why do they all have one, but I don't?" I stood with my hands in my pockets, expressionless. "Because they are all secretaries, you are the special assistant. They all have a strictly professional relationship with Silas Jiang. You're the only one who worships your Mr. Jiang so much your knees go weak." A low buzz of discussion filled the room, and everyone's expressions were priceless. It seems Luna has been making a scene and overstepping for quite a while, which is why she's managed to get on everyone's bad side. Perhaps it was Silas Jiang's ambiguous attitude that gave her the nerve to strut right up to me. Furious, Luna took 2 steps forward, pointed at me, and shouted, "You don't even work here. What gives you the right to make decisions for the company?" "I believe Mr. Jiang is not the type to mix personal matters with business. You are not welcome here. Please leave, now." A manicured finger jabbed straight at the bridge of my nose. I looked up and shot Silas Jiang a warning glance. His already outstretched leg hesitated mid-step. I looked at Luna and called out softly, "Uncle Chen." Without a word, Uncle Chen took 2 steps forward, seized Luna's finger, and gave it a sharp, violent twist. Crack. The sickening sound of snapping bone was followed instantly by Luna's piercing scream. Cold sweat beaded on her deathly pale face. Tears began to fall, one heavy drop after another. The room was silent. No one stepped forward to defend her. Sobbing, she turned around and saw Silas Jiang standing right behind her. She immediately burst into loud, wailing sobs. "Mr. Jiang, it hurts so much. It really hurts." Silas Jiang's expression darkened. His gaze held tenderness when he looked at Luna. But when it shifted to me, it was inscrutably complex. Silas Jiang had forgotten, I am a quintessential Capricorn woman. I give it my all in the process. If the outcome isn't what I hoped for, I can walk away from it completely. I've understood since I was young that sunk costs shouldn't factor into major decisions. Luna was sobbing pitifully. Silas Jiang held himself back, the veins on his neck bulging, before finally lowering his voice to ask my opinion. "Esme, Luna's hurt. Can I take her to the hospital first?" Luna looked up at me, a clear smile on her face. Silas Jiang's words felt like a slap across my face. I completely calmed down. "All right, I'll cover the medical expenses." Luna went limp in Silas Jiang's arms. He held her, his steps faltering slightly. "Esme, I'll explain everything to you slowly when we get home tonight." He carried her away, leaving the few secretaries clutching their cards. Utterly bewildered, I smiled gently. "Every word I say is a promise. Please make sure to get your measurements taken promptly. Oh, and one more thing. It seems Luna is unaware of my identity. I'd appreciate it if you could keep that confidential for now." On the way home, I instructed Uncle Chen to begin liquidating all of Silas Jiang's affairs within the conglomerate, preparing for a complete separation between Silas Jiang and Yao Chen. Uncle Chen agreed. He hesitated before asking me, "Miss, since you don't want Luna to know your identity, do you have a plan?" "I can make arrangements in advance." I shook my head. "No need, I'll handle it myself. If you dare to covet what's mine, you'll pay the price." Uncle Chen reminded me, "The young master might also reveal your identity." I laughed. "He's the last person I'd suspect. He's completely intoxicated by Luna's adoration. There's no way he'd let her find out that everything he has came from me." That night, Silas Jiang did not return home. Luna posts a new WeChat moment every 10 minutes. My hand hurts. But with you by my side, the sweetness overshadows the physical pain. It's late at night, and you're still here with me. In this moment, I feel like the luckiest princess in the world. At 2 a.m., Luna posted another update, this time with a picture. Silas Jiang lay shirtless on a bed of pinks and reds, the flush on his face not yet fully faded. The feeling of having you is so wonderful. I took screenshots of every single one of Luna's social media posts, checked the time, and called my mom, Esme. Missing your mom and dad, hearing my parents' cheerful voices from across the ocean, I couldn't help but smile. Mom, I've decided to divorce Silas Jiang. Oh, okay, Esme, your father and I just found a really wonderful little restaurant. Come over when you're free, and we'll take you there. Mom, about Yachin. Alright, it's your call. Mom, I've decided to take over Yachin myself. Alright, wait, what? That's exhausting. My dear, holding my phone. I quietly felt the abundant love from my parents, flowing across the ocean and straight into my heart. Yeah, I know, Mom, it's not a big deal. Yachin is the stepping stone for Silas Jiang's climb to the top. I'm going to personally destroy his path. Mom finally dropped her joking tone. If you've made up your mind, then do it. If you ever need me, just call. I'll come home anytime. After a brief chat, I hung up the phone. That's when I noticed that the materials Uncle Chen had compiled were already in my inbox. After reading through them carefully, a plan began to take shape in my mind. The next day, I slept in. It wasn't until I had leisurely finished my breakfast that Uncle Chen came to report to me, "Young mistress, as you instructed, we have stopped the young master from entering. He has been waiting outside the gate, insisting he must speak with you to explain." I stood up. Alright, let's go hear the lies he's so carefully crafted for me. The 11 o'clock sun was scorching. Silas Jiang had been standing outside the gate for hours, his face flushed and looking rather disheveled. When he saw me, he shuffled forward with a pitiful look, trying to take my hand. Esme, I stepped aside to avoid him. Don't touch me, you're filthy. Silas Jiang froze on the spot. After a long moment, he withdrew his hand and hung his head. Esme, please, just let me explain. Luna broke her finger. She was in pain all last night and couldn't take care of herself. I had no choice but to stay and look after her. I kept my head down, scrolling on my phone, until he fell silent for a few minutes, surprised. I looked up. Weren't you going to explain? That's it. Silas Jiang was getting a bit anxious. Esme, that's the whole story. I haven't wronged you. I let out a laugh and sent him the screenshots of Luna's social media posts, one by one. Mr. Jiang, if I'm not mistaken, that post your precious Luna made last night was probably visible to me alone. Send it over to you. Enjoy. Silas Jiang couldn't bear to look at more than two of them. His face had turned pale, and his gaze was fixed and vacant. Don't bother coming up with excuses, Mr. Jiang. I won't believe a word of it. Give me an address. I'll have Uncle Chen move your personal belongings over. Silas Jiang was getting desperate. Esme, we're husband and wife. Are you really kicking me out? If you're bothered by Luna, I'll fire her tomorrow. No, today. I'll do it today. Please, don't be angry. I tried to comfort him. Silas, you know I keep my professional and personal lives separate. I cannot accept what you've done. We must get a divorce, but the group needs you. I won't let my personal feelings affect a decision that impacts the company. Focus on your work. I'm setting you free. Silas Jiang let out a long sigh of relief. Really? I nodded. Just like you said, money is the most important thing to me. As long as you can make money for me, I won't do anything rash. A smile finally broke across Silas Jiang's face. Esme, well, I'll come back to see you in a while, once you've cooled off. I turned and went inside, watching coldly from the security monitor as Luna jumped out of a car not far away and bounded happily into Silas Jiang's arms. Silas Jiang, you betrayed me. Did you really think I'd just let you walk away? I'm going to take both of you down. Silas Jiang and I have finalized our divorce. With our prenuptial agreement and premarital asset notarization, there are no property disputes between us. Silas Jiang only took with him the legitimate income he earned at Yaochen. In the days that followed, as per my instructions, the reports were delivered to me on time, while I was scarcely seen at the corporate headquarters. From Ling Jin's office gossip, I learned that Luna was gaining more and more influence within the group, acting as if she were already the CEO's wife. Ling Jin couldn't stand the sight of those two. She practically asked me about it every single day. When are you finally going to make your move? How much longer are you going to put up with these two idiots? I just smiled and reassured her. Soon, very soon. 3 months later, we finally ran into each other at an auction. Luna was on Silas Jiang's arm, decked out in designer labels and looking utterly pleased with herself. She didn't even flinch when she saw me. Instead, she walked over, arm in arm with Silas Jiang. Sis-in-law. Oh, I mean, Miss Su, long time no see. I heard you're auctioning off the token of love Silas gave you today. Has life been this rough for you without Silas around? Miss Su, I ignored her and turned to leave. Luna stopped me. Miss Sue, don't worry, Silas promised me he'd win that pigeon's egg diamond for me at the auction. Consider this the official handover of your relationship. I frowned and asked Silas Jiang with a hint of concern, is what she said true? Under Luna's admiring gaze, Silas Jiang reluctantly nodded. I added, got enough money. Luna lost it. What are you implying? Do you have any idea what it means to be the CEO of Yachen? Don't you dare try to use money to come between me and my brother Silas. I nodded, saying with profound meaning, then I wish Miss He all her dreams come true. May Mr. Jiang and Miss He enjoy a lifelong harmonious union. This ring is called the Pink Princess. Several years ago, after Silas Jiang earned his first pot of gold, he traveled a great distance abroad to bid for it at auction and gave it to me. The quality isn't top tier, but I treasure the sentiment behind it, so I cherish it all the more. When the Pink Princess was presented and the host recounted the story behind the ring, Silas Jiang's expression turned grim. With a starting bid of 15 million, Luna raised her paddle. 16 million. No one raised the bid. A smile spread across Luna's face. Silas Jiang turned back to look at me in surprise. Given what he knew about me, this wasn't my style at all. 16 million, going once, 16 million, going twice. Overjoyed and unable to contain her excitement at the imminent victory, Luna turned and threw herself into Silas Jiang's arms. Silas Jiang's expression, however, grew increasingly stern. 16 million for the... Just as the auctioneer's gavel was about to fall, a languid voice drifted from a corner of the room. 30 million. Luna's face fell. She shot up in a furious huff, only to sink back into her seat, thoroughly deflated, the moment she recognized the bidder. The one holding up the placard was the city's notorious playboy, Lu Xingye, the crown prince of the Lu group. Luna's expression changed in an instant. She looked at Lu Xingye with a pitiful gaze and spoke timidly, young Master Lu, this ring holds a very special meaning for me. Could you please let me have it? Lu Xingye rolled his eyes. Who the hell do you think you are? You think you can tell me to back off? I just don't like the look of you too. I'm messing with you on purpose. I'm putting it out there right now. If that guy Jiang raises the bid even once, I'm out. With just a few words, Lu Xingye put Silas Jiang on the spot. I sat in the back, watching his hesitation with a cold gaze. 30 million, that was nearly Silas Jiang's entire fortune. I was curious too. Would Silas Jiang call the bet or not? Luna didn't disappoint. The auction was filled with the wealthy and powerful, and her tears flowed on command. Brother Silas, I just wanted to possess the affection you once held for Miss Sue. Are you truly willing to let this ring fall into the hands of a stranger? Even if I'm unworthy, it still belongs to the past you shared with Miss Sue. Luna was about to say more when Silas Jiang, gritting his teeth, raised his paddle. 31 million. The gavel fell, and everyone was pleased. Only Silas Jiang, glancing at me from afar, looked utterly exhausted. After the auction ended, Luna, arm in arm with Silas Jiang, made a point of coming over to flaunt it in front of me. Thank you for your generosity, Miss Sue. Please entrust Miss Sue's past with Silas to me, along with this ring. Unlike Miss Sue, I will truly cherish Silas. Luna is very happy, and so am I. I nodded with a smile. Luna, I stayed behind specifically to wait for you because there's something I need to tell you. Oh, actually, make that two things. First, buying this ring drained every last penny of Silas Jiang's savings. To put it bluntly, he's probably less well off than you are now. Second, Luna, you might want to brace yourself. I am the actual controlling shareholder of Yachen. In other words, I'm Silas Jiang's boss. Luna's smile froze on her face. She turned a ghostly pale as she stared at Silas Jiang. Brother Silas, tell me she's lying. Say something. No way, that's impossible. Didn't you tell me Sue she was just a housewife spending all your money? I've done my research. The chairman of Yachen doesn't have the surname Sue. How could she possibly be the owner of Yachen? I smiled, my eyes crinkling. Miss He, did your research also reveal that the chairman's husband is surnamed Sue, and the chairman's daughter is named Su Shi? Luna's legs gave way, and she desperately clung to Silas Jiang just to stay upright. Silas Jiang ignored her, his face even paler than Luna's. He looked at me, the light gone from his eyes. Esme, is this your revenge against me? I have to bid on this ring, whether I want to or not, don't I? As long as I want to stay in this circle, I can't possibly let the ring fall into someone else's hands, right? What's the point to you if I spend all my savings? I shrugged. You're still needed at Yachen. For the sake of the company, I won't touch you, but I can't stand to see you two living so happily. Just a little trick to vent my frustration, that's all. I turned away with a smile, only for Silas Jiang to call out to me. Esme, was that vintage men's watch you just bid on? For me, I've had my eye on that watch for ages. You remembered, didn't you? I glanced at the vintage watch in Uncle Chen's hand, and the thought of Lu Xingye's insufferable "I'm the king of the world" attitude made the corner of my mouth lift inexplicably. "Not at all, Mr. Jiang. What you like, others might like too. There's no rule that says you can always have what you want." Following the auction, the collaboration project between Yachen Group and the Lu Group, spearheaded by Silas Jiang, officially entered its final negotiation phase. This was also one of the reasons why Silas Jiang was so determined to outbid Lu Xingye at the auction. He couldn't afford to lose. A defeat at the auction would have put him at a psychological disadvantage at the negotiating table. Both sides were deadlocked, refusing to budge. After several grueling rounds of negotiation, the partnership deal still hadn't made any progress. At the critical moment, I had Uncle Chen leak the news that, due to the lack of progress on the deal, senior management was considering replacing the CEO. In short, at all costs and while ensuring profitability. We must secure the partnership deal with the Lu Group. The moment the news got out, someone started to panic. Silas Jiang stormed into the house in a furious rage, demanding to see me. Uncle Chen stopped him, so he could only stand in the hall and shout my name, "Esme, Esme." I took my time washing up, doing my skincare, and only came downstairs after dragging it out for half an hour. "The fire in Silas Jiang's belly has gone out. Esme, Chairman Jiang just spoke with me. He said you're considering replacing the CEO, is that true?" I took the coffee Uncle Chen handed me, took a slow sip, and looked up to ask him, "I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. What did you call me?" "No, I'm sorry, miss." Silas Jiang lowered his head, his hands clenched into fists at his sides, the veins in his neck faintly bulging. "I suppose I can understand. This place was once his home. The very Uncle Chen he now fears was once under his command." After months of basking in success and the warmth of a lover's embrace, it finally dawned on him, without me, he is nothing. "Mr. Jiang, let's be strictly business about this. If you fail to secure the partnership with Lu Corporation, I have ample reason to question your professional competence. Go. I won't change my mind." "Uncle Chen, please see our guest out. In the future, do not let just anyone in." Silas Jiang's fists clenched tighter and tighter, the words dying on his lips several times. I kept my head down, scrolling on my phone, utterly indifferent to his internal struggle. Uncle Chen took 2 steps forward. Silas Jiang had always been wary of him. He could only turn and leave in silence. Once he confirmed Silas Jiang had left, Uncle Chen personally drove me to the cafe. Luna was already waiting for me. When I entered, she instinctively stood up, then sat back down with her head held high, a picture of haughtiness. I didn't call her out on her nervousness. After taking my seat, I got straight to the point. "I'm planning to replace Silas Jiang." Luna's eyes widened. "On what grounds?" I laughed. "On the grounds that he betrayed me. On the grounds that he couldn't secure the Lu family's business. Because I feel like it. I don't like him." Luna was finally being smart for once. She asked me warily, "Why are you telling me this? Aren't you afraid I'll tell Silas first and let him prepare?" I shook my head. "I just love watching you two cornered and helpless." I fired Silas Jiang. "He won't find a decent job in this industry again. Your miserable days are just around the corner," leaving a pale-faced Luna behind. I got up and left. On the ride back, I gave instructions to Uncle Chen, "Get ready to close the net." After receiving Lu Xingye's call, I grabbed the materials I had prepared in advance and rushed to the police station. Uncle Chen, working with the police, apprehended Silas Jiang at the airport as he was attempting to flee the country. Thanks to a special request I made, the 4 of us met face to face in a conference room at the police station. When enemies meet, their eyes blaze with hatred. Luna charged at me, trying to hit me. Lu Xingye instinctively shielded me behind him. I let out a hearty laugh and pointed to the camera above us. "Luna, if you lay a finger on me today, I promise you, I have more than enough ways to make your charges even worse." Luna froze. She glared at me, breathing heavily. "You're despicable, utterly despicable. It's all because of you. Everything is your fault. You went to such elaborate lengths, creating the illusion that Silas Jiang was about to lose his job. Your real endgame was to trick us into stealing Yachen's corporate secrets. It wasn't until I had Yachen's top-secret documents in hand, ready to sell them to young Master Lu for a hefty price, that I discovered the truth. You and he had already signed a cooperation agreement. All that nonsense about the cooperation deal being stalled, it was just an act, a performance put on by the 2 of you. You actually planted a camera in Silas Jiang's office, and the classified documents you gave him, you tampered with them. We just wanted to trade the resources we have for some money from young Master Lu, then we'd go abroad and have nothing more to do with you. Why won't you just leave us alone?" I nodded calmly. "So you've finally figured it out. a pity it's far too late. What on earth made you think that I, Sushi, would ever swallow such a grievous insult? It has always been my way to wrong others. I will never, ever accept being wronged by anyone. Silas Jiang, who had remained silent all this time, had bloodshot eyes and a voice choked with emotion. So, miss, this was your revenge all along. I thought you put the pink princess up for auction to avoid painful memories. Little did I know, the game was set from that very moment. I spent my life's savings on that ring, leaving me vulnerable. Then, you pushed me over the edge by taking away my job. After living the high life, with my back against the wall, I was bound to take a desperate gamble. Luna is the only person I can use. The perfect candidate to steal the company's secrets. That's right, you're the real power behind Yaochen, its sole heir. Why would I be so naive as to believe you'd actually let me go? I placed the documents in my hand in front of Silas Jiang. Mr. Jiang, you're not far off from what you've guessed. You only missed one minor, inconsequential detail. The board was set that very night Luna drove you home. The divorce, yet keeping you at Yaochen, wasn't because you're irreplaceable. I'm just going to wrap you two up together and send you both to your graves. Silas Jiang's eyes grew increasingly bloodshot, his gaze gradually losing focus. At that moment, Lu Xingye suddenly reached out and, with a taunting smirk, slid the documents towards Silas Jiang, revealing the antique men's watch on his wrist. Silas Jiang's eyes widened in shock, his gaze fixed unwaveringly on Lu Xingye's wrist. You people, all of you, miss, that watch, it's the one I wanted, the one I liked. Silas Jiang finally broke down, he buried his face in his hands, sobbing uncontrollably. I stared impassively at Silas Jiang, who looked like a beaten dog, and spoke my final words to him in this life. Silas Jiang, this is the last lesson I will ever teach you. I once taught you how to climb to the top, now, I will personally teach you how to fall from it. 2 months later, Lu Xingye accompanied me to the court hearing. Silas Jiang and Luna were sentenced to 5 years and 3 years in prison, respectively, for trade secret infringement, and were also fined. After the judge announced the verdict in court, I stood up and left. As I reached the door, Silas Jiang's heart-wrenching scream echoed from behind me. Esme, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I didn't look back. Silas Jiang, reeking of alcohol, had his arm slung over a young woman's shoulder, leaning most of his weight on her. Da Jiang, Lu Xingye opened the car door for me. It's my mom's birthday tonight, would you do me the honor, Miss Su, of accompanying me to the family dinner? I shook my head. No, I have plans with Jackie tonight. Lu Xingye's expression changed. Who is Jackie? I looked at him in surprise. You're kidding, you don't know, the top male model at Eclipse Manor. Lu Xingye's teeth were grinding audibly. Sushi, in your heart, am I really not even as good as some male model? I looked him up and down, letting my gaze linger a little too long in one particular area. To be perfectly honest, I probably can't compare. With lightning reflexes, Uncle Chen slammed the car door shut, hit the gas, and left Lu Xingye's curses in the dust. Rolling down the window, she was met with a gentle spring breeze. In the prime of your life, making money is definitely more important than any man. On their 7th wedding anniversary, my husband Bai Yuiguan gave our son a cat. I was allergic to cat hair and had rashes all over my body and signs of miscarriage, so I asked my son to send the cat back. 5-year-old Zane pushed me to the ground and cried, I don't want you to be my mother anymore. I want Aunt Arya to be my mother. Rowan Lu scolded me with a cold face. You were allergic earlier or later, but you became allergic when Arya gave you a cat. You were so jealous that you didn't even care about your son's feelings. I've never seen you act like this. He picked up his son and took the cat to find Arya. I fell to the ground, watching the blood soak into my pants. And just like that I lost my second child. I was in excruciating pain in the hospital. The father and son accompanied Arya on a trip around the country, just like a real family of 3. Arya sent me a message. Do you know that Brother Lu likes me? Why did he marry you? Because I didn't want to take the risk of having a child, but I wanted a pair of sons and daughters. Unfortunately, you had a miscarriage. At that moment, I felt truly desperate. I hired a lawyer to get a divorce and bought a plane ticket back to my hometown. I just hope that I will never see that father and son again. Rowan Lu and Zane in my bakery. The father and son look very similar, which is very eye-catching. The customers in the store looked amazed, but the moment I saw them, my heart ached as if it was about to break. After the miscarriage that year, the first thing I did was call Rowan Lu. I didn't expect him to give up Bai Yuiguang and come back to stay with me. I just wanted to hear a few words of comfort, but Rowan Lu just sighed. What a pity, Arya has always wanted a daughter. I broke down and asked him, you married me just to use me to have a baby. I just said Arya likes girls, what does this have to do with it? Jiang Mian, stop going crazy every day, you're like a psychopath. Rowan Liu hung up the phone directly, he is the controller of our emotions. And he is also the superior one in terms of status and power. I have always revolved around him, no matter what he did or thought, he would never condescend to explain it to me, let alone coax me. I was on the verge of collapse at that time, I called him again and again but no one answered, so I called Zane's watch phone while crying. Zane, if mom and dad divorce, will you come with me? I really can't bear such a troubled marriage, but Zane refused in a baby voice, no, I want to be with my dad, if mom gets divorced, come to see me less often in the future, and Arya will be unhappy when she sees you, the husband only cares about Bai Guang. The son I gave birth to after 10 months of pregnancy only cares about the third party. At that time, I really felt like the sky was falling. Boss, I want a chocolate cake. The customer shouted several times before I came to my senses, but before I could say anything, Rowan Liu said, go buy it from somewhere else, she won't make it today, and she won't make it in the future. After the customers left, he hung up a sign saying the shop was closed for the day. Do you know how long my son and I have been looking for you? I won't pursue the matter of you opening a bakery without permission, as Mrs. Liu, please don't do anything that is beneath your status in the future. I don't like it, he is still the same as before, high and mighty, making decisions about my life without caring about my feelings at all. I suppressed my anger and said, but I'm not Mrs. Liu now, we divorced 6 years ago, my current husband and son are very supportive of me opening a bakery. Rowan Liu frowned unhappily, is it fun to lie, you care so much about me and Zane. How could you marry and have children with someone else? Seeing him getting angry, Zane quickly tried to be a peacemaker. Mom, stop arguing with dad and come home with us. We didn't expect you to really leave, and you disappeared for 6 years. We've been looking for you for a long time, and we really miss you. When he looked at me, his expression was full of affection, without the disgust he had when he was 5 years old. But I can no longer love this son. I already have a new family. Please don't bother me anymore. You've been lying nonstop. After you gave birth to Zane, you stayed with him 24 hours a day. If you really had another child, would you not stay with him? Rowan Liu was already impatient. Come to me before 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. If you don't come, you will have no chance to be Mrs. Liu again. Rowan Liu said the name of a hotel and left with Zane without looking back. But I never thought about winning them back, so naturally it was impossible for me to look for them. I didn't go out until 5 in the afternoon of the next day to pick up my son Hao at the airport. He stayed at my sister-in-law's house for a few days, and today he signed up for an unaccompanied adult visa and flew back from abroad by himself. I haven't seen him for half a month and I miss him very much. Who knew that when I just arrived at the airport, I actually ran into Rowan Liu and Zane. Both the father and the son had sullen faces, but when they saw me, light appeared in their eyes at the same time. Mom, are those egg tarts you carried for me? Thank you, Mom, I knew you would come. Zane snatched the box from my hand, very happy. Rowan Liu said coldly, I said the deadline is 3 o'clock. What time is it now? You really should learn from Arya's sense of time. Their constant offenses made me angry no matter how good-tempered I was. The egg tarts are for my son. I came to the airport to pick him up. What does it have to do with you? Rowan Liu. Zane looked at me with both sympathy and disdain, as if he was looking at a clown trying hard to cover up a lie. They have combined like this countless times in the past, driving me to psychological collapse, but at this moment, their arrogance and self-righteousness became a laughingstock the moment my son rushed over. Mom, Hao misses you so much. The little guy hugged my thighs, his eyes sparkling. I picked him up and kissed his cheek. Mom misses you too, I'm sorry. The egg tarts I brought for you were soiled by someone. Can I make them for you when I get home? Okay, thank you, Mom. Seeing this scene, Rowan Liu stared at me with a gloomy expression. Zane was still holding the box of egg tarts in his hand, his face pale. Both the big and the small were very out of control. I held Hao in my arms and didn't feel like paying attention to them, so I just left. I thought this farce was over. But only half a day had passed when the father and son returned. Rowan Liu pointed at Hao and said, this child doesn't look like you at all. Did you adopt him on purpose to piss me off? Jiang Mian, can you stop being so self-righteous? Hao just looks like his dad. I'm really annoyed to see them coming again. Are they sticky? Rowan Liu, I don't believe it. Zane also said with a pale face, we have asked people and they all said they have never met your husband. You said you got married on purpose to piss off me and my dad, right? I hate them for hiring someone to investigate me, but I still tell the truth. My husband is the movie star Milo Fu. We are in a secret marriage because we are afraid of being disturbed by the media and fans, Rowan Lu sneered. How could Milo Fu possibly like you? If you lie, find someone more credible. In his eyes, I have always been a nobody. It is my honor to be favored by him, and I should always be around him. I don't want to have any more meaningless arguments with him. It was time to close the store at 9 o'clock, so I pulled Hao Hao out. Zane caught up with her. Mom, I know I didn't do anything right when I was little, and I apologize. Can you come back with us? Rowan Lu also came out. Why beg her? Jiang Mian, I'm not asking you to be as generous and decent as Arya, but at least don't be so pretentious. I'm giving you a way out. You'd better take it. I perfunctorily said. Yes. Arya is good at everything. So I took the initiative to give up my seat. You three can live a good life and don't bother me. Okay, Rowan Lu frowned. After we divorced, I was with Arya for half a year, but I found that I was not used to being with her, not happy, and not suitable. You are the best for me. You're not comfortable being married to someone else, so you come to me. Rowan Lu, what makes you think I'll be waiting for you here? I felt sick looking at them and wanted to leave with Hao Hao, but the next second, Rowan Lu forcibly picked me up. That's enough, Jiang Mian. There has to be a limit to playing hard to get. I have a meeting tomorrow and I don't have time to waste with you. Come home with me now. Let me go. I struggled hard but couldn't get free. The moment I was stuffed into the car, I was so furious. Milo Fu came in. Who the hell is playing hard to get with you? My wife told you so many times that she's married, you beast. Don't you understand what I'm saying? Milo Fu rushed over with a sour look on his face, kicked Rowan Lu to the ground, and then pulled me out of the car. I nestled in his arms. My hands and feet were soft, and my eyes were red, so angry. I was married to Rowan Lu. I became severely depressed and I am still taking medicine. After so many years of divorce, they still come to bully me. Milo Fu picked up the tearful Hao Hao and stuffed a candy into my mouth like he was coaxing a child. Don't be angry, they don't deserve it. Milo Fu, Jiang Mian, are you really marrying him? Rowan Lu got up from the ground, but even now, he still didn't want to believe it. Milo Fu hugged me and said sarcastically, if I don't marry you, am I going to wait for you, a two-timing scumbag, to change your mind? You found out that the mistress is not as good as you imagined, so you came to my wife to take over. How can I not kill you? But she has been pursuing me for so many years and has only had eyes for me. How could she change her mind and marry you? She truly loved a rotten guy like you. But does that mean she should be bound to you for the rest of her life? Why, Milo Fu has never suffered any loss when it comes to talking. Rowan Lu's face turned red and blue after being scolded by him. And he was speechless. Zane's face was gray. Mom, do you really not want me and Dad? Milo Fu, yes, she just doesn't want you two bitches anymore. You ungrateful little bastard always belittles my wife to your dead father and tells her to get lost. She left as you wished, and you come to her to play the victim again. Who do you want to annoy? Zane is young and has never been scolded by anyone. His face turned red all the way to his neck and he looked at me for help, but 6 years ago, he insisted that Arya become a mother and caused me to have a miscarriage, which broke my heart. How could I help him? I was so angry that I called the police on the spot. Rowan Lu, this is considered attempted kidnapping, but they didn't cause any serious consequences, and in the end they were just given a few verbal criticisms. But even so, Rowan Lu and Zane couldn't stand it. They wanted to talk to me alone, but I refused. You'll regret this, Rowan Lu warned with a gloomy face. Milo Fu, without even turning my head, who would have thought that not long after arriving home, Milo Fu's black trending searches became a hot topic on the entire internet. Hashtag Milo Fu sexually harassed multiple actresses. Hashtag Milo Fu acted like a big shot on set many times. Hashtag Milo Fu was exposed for sleeping with fans. Hashtag Milo Fu plastic surgery. Hashtag Milo Fu sells his ass to the sponsor. Hashtag. Less than half an hour later, several brands that Milo Fu endorsed called to terminate the contracts. The roles that had been previously negotiated were no longer available, and the actors in the movies that were currently being filmed had to be replaced. Milo Fu anxiously, but he refused to cooperate. He called me sister-in-law. We have known each other for such a long time. I won't say polite words. You know who did this, right, Mr. Lu called me personally and said that as long as you go home with him, Zhongqing can restore its previous glory. I clutched the phone tightly, my voice shaking. What if I don't? Then Zhongqing will be banned from the entire internet. He is a child from an ordinary family, and it has been difficult for him to get to this point today. If Mr. Lu is unwilling to let him go, the money he has earned over the years will not be enough to pay the penalty. I hung up the phone, and that deep feeling of powerlessness came back, as if I was back to 6 years ago. But Rowan Lu is even worse than I imagined. When the phone rang again, it was from the hospital. MS. Jiang, Dr. Lu is unable to schedule surgery. Your surgery scheduled for half a month will have to be postponed. How long will it take? It's hard to say. At this moment, I even had the urge to smash my phone. How has a congenital heart disease, and his condition has been worsening in recent years. Milo Fu and I had a hard time getting an appointment with Dr. Lu for him. I can wait, but how can't? Milo Fu was busy dealing with the mess at work. I didn't want to cause him any more trouble, but I felt so suffocated that I couldn't help but feel tears in the corners of my eyes. Rowan Lu called at this time, as condescending as ever. If you want to help your husband and save your son, come to room 1362 of the Fuyang Hotel within the hour. I have been pushed into a corner and have no choice. I sniffed and went to find Milo Fu to say my final goodbye to him. Given Rowan Lu's personality, I will never have the chance to see him and how again. However, I just walked over, and before I could say anything, Milo Fu touched his nose and said, "Wife, I have something to tell you. Don't be angry." I swallowed the words on my lips and said, "Well, go ahead." "Well, I'm actually the son of the CEO of Fu Group. Let me make it clear first, I didn't hide this from you on purpose. My parents didn't agree with me marrying you at first and insisted that I go through with the marriage. That's why we broke up. You were severely depressed before, and I was worried that you would be unhappy because of my parents' attitude, so I lied and said that my parents were gone." Milo Fu wiped my tears and said, "My parents have come to their senses in the past 2 years and want us to go back home. I am going to quit the entertainment industry and take over the family company." The scandal about him on the internet was quickly clarified. Milo Fu took the opportunity to announce his retirement. Even though a group of people confessed and tried to persuade him to stay, he did not change his mind and only said that the Fu Group would sue all those who insulted and slandered him. In addition, my parents-in-law have already made an appointment for How with a cardiologist, and the surgery will be performed in a week. The crisis was resolved within 3 hours, and when my stomach growled I remembered we hadn't had dinner yet. How asked me if I was tired or hungry, and he wanted to stand on a small stool to cook noodles for me. Milo Fu carried him down in a bad mood. "Little ancestor, you are so small. Can you behave yourself? Go, play with your mother." He cooked a table full of my favorite dishes. When it was time to eat, Milo Fu prepared the crabs for me. How followed suit, since the crabs were difficult to open. He peeled shrimps for me and wouldn't let me. "My wife eats crabs, Mom, eat shrimp." Milo Fu flicked Hao's head and said, "Elementary school kid." After eating, Milo Fu washed the dishes and went to give his son a bath. Rowan Lu called me and said, "Milo Fu is the heir of the Fu Group. Did you know that long ago? Have you been waiting to see me make a fool of myself?" I didn't know that before, but that didn't stop me from talking nonsense. "Yes." Rowan Lu was furious. "Do you think Milo Fu married you because he loved you? He didn't get along with me when we were in school. And he married you just to annoy me. He didn't even dare to make you public because he thought you were not presentable. Only Zane and I truly love you. It doesn't matter if he dislikes me, as long as I love him." Hearing this, Rowan Lu was so angry that he couldn't speak. I hung up directly. Milo Fu finished bathing Hao and walked out holding him. "Did your ex-husband call to harass you again?" It's so annoying. There are already enough people chasing after you, and now your ex-husband is joining in the fun." "Honey, let's have a wedding. I don't want to keep my marriage secret anymore." Rowan Lu said that Milo Fu didn't make it public because he thought I was not presentable, but he didn't know that I was the one who disagreed with making it public. Rowan Lu disliked my status as someone who was not presentable enough, so we didn't even have a wedding. We just got the marriage certificate. Zane thinks I am inferior to Arya in every way and has never called me mom in public. Everyone is making fun of me and saying I am not worthy. Milo Fu is not only an award-winning actor, but also the heir of the Fu Group, so more people are paying attention to him. I was afraid that his relatives and friends would say that I was not qualified. The media would make fun of me, and fans would curse me for being unworthy. I clenched my hands. "I'm sorry, Zhang Qing. I am still scared." Milo Fu seemed a little disappointed, but when he looked at me, he felt more distressed. "I should be the one to say sorry for not giving you enough sense of security. I have said these things many times, but I still want to say them again. My wife is gentle, kind, and beautiful. She graduated from a top university, she cooks delicious food. And she is emotionally stable. I can't even write 3 pages about your merits. I am so lucky to marry you." Hao's eyes sparkled. "Mom is the best mom in the world. No matter what decision I make, both father and son always support me. My heart felt sour and the shadow of meeting Rowan Zain seemed to have dissipated. Milo Fu had been shooting late-night scenes for several days in a row and finally managed to squeeze out some time to go home. He had to leave early the next morning. I thought about it all night, and finally made up my mind when I sent him out. Give me another month to think about the wedding. Okay, don't worry, don't make it hard on yourself, but I love you, and marrying you has never been difficult for me. Rowan and Zain should not be held responsible for the psychological trauma that they caused me. Milo Fu hugged me and said, "You are always hurt because you care too much about other people's feelings. Remember, between us, you only need to consider your own feelings. If the wedding only makes you panic, then the wedding is never what I want." Shortly after he left, Rowan Lu's car accident became a hot topic, and it was said that his life or death was in danger. Zain called me and I didn't answer. The media took a video of him crying in the hospital until his eyes were red and swollen. Several people from the Liu family came, including Arya. As far as I can remember, Zain has always admired and favored Arya. But when she tried to touch him this time, he pushed her away forcefully. He was still shouting something at her angrily, but it was too noisy to hear clearly. I only saw netizens say in the comment section, "I know lip reading, Zain is scolding Arya. It's all her fault. His mother ignored him and his father. Oh my god, could Arya be the third party? I can only tell you that it is true." Moreover, both the father and the son favor the third party. And Zain's biological mother was forced to divorce Rowan 6 years ago. The scumbag and the bitch even have a barbecued pork son. The ex-wife is too pitiful. I just glanced at it quickly and turned off the news. But this incident caused quite a stir, and the stock price of Liu's company hit the limit down for several consecutive days. Arya was originally going to be evaluated for professor, but that was also rejected and she was also suspended from work. Zain again after How recovered from the surgery, he came to my bakery. I couldn't help but frown. "You are not welcome here. Please leave immediately," Zain quickly explained. "Mom, I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm here to buy snacks. Dad and I both want to eat the snacks you made." He escaped death this time, and the only person he cares about is you. "Not for sale, but you said yourself that you would only make snacks for me and Dad. You broke your promise, and we don't blame you. Now we can't even buy them at our own expense." At the end of the day, Zain even felt a little aggrieved. "I just thought it was ridiculous. You remembered it wrongly. I used to like making snacks for you, but you never ate a bite. You are just like your father. You only eat the nutritious meals made by Arya. I came from a poor family, and marrying into the Liu family was a high-class marriage. My in-laws looked down on me and belittled me everywhere, including the son I gave birth to after 10 months of pregnancy. Arya can cook broccoli and chicken breast in just a few minutes, making it a nutritious and delicious healthy meal. The snacks I spent hours baking turned out to be junk food and ultimately ended up in the trash." Zain has an early memory, and when he heard me mention those things, his face turned red. "I was young and ignorant at that time. Mom, can you give me a chance? Aunt Arya doesn't care about me at all. She doesn't even know I'm allergic to peanuts, and she doesn't care about my likes or dislikes. I regretted it not long after Mom left. You are the one who loves me the most." I would probably feel relieved to hear him say this in the past, but now I don't feel touched at all. I'm not that magnanimous and can't forgive those who have hurt me. Can you leave now? Mom, please, give me another chance. Zain's face was pleading, but I no longer care about his feelings. It was just time to go home from school, so I asked the newly hired clerk to look after the store while I went to pick up How from the kindergarten. Zain got a taxi and followed me. "It's such a long road and it's not mine. He can do whatever he wants." I drove to the kindergarten quickly and the school gate was very busy. "Mom, How misses you so much." The little guy let go of the teacher, rushed towards me with open arms, and stuffed the ceramic doll he had made into my arms. The teacher led us to make ceramic dolls today, and asked us to make the person we love the most, How's mother. I kissed him on the cheek. "Baby, you did a great job, great job." The little guy was shy and hid in my arms. "It's because mommy is so pretty that How can do well." The child takes after his father. He keeps saying sweet words to me, which makes me dizzy. Zain watched our mother-son interaction with envy. I pretended not to see it and walked towards the car with How. But Zain followed. He looked at me with red eyes. "Mom hasn't visited me for 6 years. Is it because you don't like me anymore because you have a little brother? Didn't you tell me over and over again not to go back to see you, so as not to upset your Aunt Arya?" He didn't like to talk to me until he was 5 years old. The time he talked to me the most was during the 1-month cool-off period during my divorce. Every time he opens his eyes, he tells me not to go home to see him, because Arya would be unhappy seeing me, and he didn't want her to be unhappy. Zayn was extremely embarrassed. But, this can't be entirely my fault. You weren't close to me at that time, and you didn't even accompany me to the parent-child sports meeting. Aunt Arya was with me the most at that time, and I must have liked her more. Can you understand that? You got it wrong. You thought I was embarrassing. You never called me mom outside and you never let me get close to you at home. I once secretly went to the kindergarten just to see you, but you pointed at me and said I was the Liu family's nanny. After I got home, I cried and made a fuss and asked me to stay away from you. It used to be a nightmare for me. If it wasn't for the purpose of distancing myself from Zayn, I wouldn't want to open up the wound like this. He stood there in a daze, his mouth open but unable to speak. I took Hao home without looking back. After I got back, I received a text message from an unfamiliar number. I'm sorry, Mom, Dad and the others all said it was your fault, so I naturally thought it was your fault, but I never reflected on how many things I had done to hurt you, my father, and I have no right to ask for your forgiveness. I will not disturb your life anymore and will try my best to stop him from disturbing you. Rowan Liu and Zayn came to me and asked me to go back to the Liu family. They always took it for granted. This is the first time Zayn has ever sincerely apologized to me, but I can't forgive. Zayn didn't come to see me again, but Rowan Liu came to the store to see me in a wheelchair. Jiang Mian, come out for a moment. I have something to tell you. He habitually gives orders. I didn't even move. No time. Rowan Liu always gives me the cold shoulder, before I even give him the cold shoulder. His face turns livid. The clerk was curious but didn't dare to ask, but the gossipy old customer couldn't help but speak. Boss, this handsome guy and his son always come to the store to look for you. What is your relationship? I said calmly. It doesn't matter. One is an ex-husband who cheated on his wife and regretted it, and the other is an ungrateful son who insisted on having a mistress as his mother. The customers and the shop assistants looked at Rowan Liu suddenly changed. Filled with disgust and disdain, he was a very face-conscious person, so he turned around and left with a sour face. When I closed the store and was about to go home, Rowan Liu blocked me at the door of the store. I was in the hospital because of your car accident and almost died, but you didn't even want to visit me. Don't you think you're being too much? His angry tone sounded like he was questioning a heartless man. I just said coldly, blame me. Did I hold your head down and force you to drink, or did I hire someone to drive a car and hit you? I know you're just jealous that I liked Arya before. I apologize to you. I'm sorry. Is that okay? No. Why does he think I will forgive him if he apologizes? I'm getting ready to get in the car and go home. The car door just opened, and was slammed shut by Rowan Liu. He got angry and asked, just because Milo Fu married you, you can no longer look down on me. I nodded, yes. He is better looking than you, has a better temper, and has a better family background and abilities than you. I must be crazy to give him up for you. Jiang Mian, Rowan Liu was so angry that she gasped. Except for your good looks, you are ordinary in every way. Do you really think Milo Fu can be interested in you? He is my mortal enemy. He married you just to annoy me. He also thinks you are embarrassing. So he wants to keep the marriage secret. If you remarry me now, I am willing to give you a grand wedding. He had just finished speaking when the wheelchair was kicked over by Milo Fu, who came rushing over. Milo Fu was furious. You are ordinary. Your whole family is ordinary. My parents said that my ancestors' graves are smoking, so I can marry such a good wife. What qualifications do you, a cheating scumbag, have to despise her? He became angrier and kicked Rowan Liu again. It's you who always belittles and puas my wife. Which is why she has severe depression and wants to commit suicide. I try every way to cheer her up every day, and it's not easy to make her cheerful, but you come and provoke her again. She is so unlucky to have met a scumbag like you. Rowan Liu lay on the ground, her voice trembling slightly. Jiang Mian, you have severe depression and you attempted suicide. Why didn't you tell me? I've said this more than once. It's just that he only cares about Arya and doesn't have any place for me in his heart, so he doesn't even remember such a thing. I didn't answer him, but stepped over him and got into the car. After arriving home, Milo Fu asked worriedly, wife, are you okay? How about we move so that he can't find you and can't bother you anymore? I'm fine. I just suddenly feel very lucky to have divorced Rowan Liu and married you. Zhangqing, I've made up my mind. I want to have a wedding with you and be your beautiful bride. I couldn't see clearly before when I was in this situation, but now I realize what a rotten person Rowan Liu is. Some things, I suddenly feel relieved. Milo Fu was stunned for a moment, then he hugged me and spun around several times excitedly. Thank you, my wife, for your affirmation of me. I will definitely keep working hard. In the end, I said I was dizzy from being turned around, and he put me down in a panic. Milo Fu dreamed of having a wedding with me. He looked at countless wedding companies behind my back and even made an appointment with director Liu, who is famous for his beautiful pictures, to do the wedding videography. He had already thought about the bride price and transferred all his assets to me. Originally, customizing a wedding dress is a time-consuming and laborious task, but we have been married for 6 years, and he has had a wedding dress made according to my size every year. I am afraid that if I want to have a wedding one day, I will have to wait. In just half a month, the wedding was ready. My parents-in-law were very happy and sent invitations to a lot of people. Milo Fu also called all relatives and friends. A relative heard that my parents had both passed away and that I was just a bakery owner. He frowned and asked Milo Fu to be careful with my parents-in-law, saying that I was not worthy of Milo Fu at all. Don't say bad things about my mother. She is the best mother. How waved his little fist angrily. Milo Fu directly told the relative, second uncle, you are not welcome at my wedding, so you don't have to come, and everyone present, if anyone says something like this to spoil the fun at my wedding, don't blame me for embarrassing you then. I don't know what everyone is thinking. But after that, no one dared to lecture me or give me a cold look. On the eve of my wedding, Rowan Liu came to me drunk. The man who always acted high and mighty now had red and swollen eyes, untidy beard, and looked more decadent than ever before. I admit that I regret it. I was so stupid that I thought I liked Arya. I didn't expect that I had already fallen in love with you, after you left. I regretted it after only being with Arya for half a year. Zane and I have been looking for you. Can you come home with us? I really regretted going out alone to buy contact lenses, but ended up meeting this unlucky thing. I'm getting married tomorrow. I don't want to waste time arguing with you. Get out of the way. I did make mistakes before, but we are all human. Jiang Mian, you should give me a chance. Rowan Liu looked at me lovingly and wanted to reach out and hug me. Bang. I couldn't stand it anymore and slapped him in the face, still feeling unsatisfied. She slapped him on the other side of his face. Rowan Liu, haven't I given you enough chances? My father owed a lot of high-interest loans and ran away. The debt collectors came to the house all the time, which scared my mother so much that she took me to pay off the debts. When my clothes were torn by my creditors, it was Rowan Liu who saved me. It's hard for me to describe how I felt at that time. He was like my savior, who came down from the sky, and I fell in love with him uncontrollably. Because I love him and because of this kindness, I have been tolerant again and again after marriage, but he has disappointed me again and again. I have failed parents, and he and Zane are the new family I chose, but their contempt forced me into severe depression, sinking deeper and deeper into the swamp. When I was about to be drowned and suffocated, it was Milo Fu that pulled me out. Otherwise, I would have been driven to death by Rowan Liu. Rowan Liu had a slap mark on her face and tears in her eyes. I regret it. Zane rushed out. It's not that you regret it, but Mom has to forgive you. She is living a happy life now. Can you please stop shamelessly disturbing her? He said sorry to me in a panic and dragged Rowan Liu away. The next day, the wedding scene was particularly lively. I said yes loudly and held out my hand for Milo Fu to put the diamond ring on my finger, at the corner of my eye. I saw Zane peeking at me from the door of the hall, but he didn't come to me. He just asked someone to pass on a wedding gift for him. Not long after I got married, Zane transferred to another school and chose to study in this city. Rowan Liu also opened a branch here and often stayed here for a long time. It's just that the relationship between father and son is not very good. Rowan Liu failed in his attempt to win me back by sending me flowers, luxury goods, and writing love letters. He started changing girlfriends frequently, and without exception, all of those people looked somewhat similar to me. Arya came to him and asked to get back together, but he rejected her. She tried to find Zane to speak for her, but he wouldn't even meet him. Zane tried every means to make friends with Hao, and then naturally came to my house to play. He always calls Mom carefully, but I treat him like a stranger. Rowan Liu also wanted to imitate him and get close to me through Hao. But he couldn't even get into my house. He found out that I really was not willing to give him any chance, so he got angry and married a hostess who looked most like me. But life after marriage was not very happy and they divorced after just over half a year. The company's performance is also declining, getting worse year by year. After that, I hardly heard from him, but on the day Hao took over Fu Group, Zane gave up his extremely high salary and switched jobs to submit his resume. Rowan Liu, whom I hadn't seen for a long time, appeared in front of me. He had a few white hairs on his temples and his arrogance was gone. He asked Zane to come back to his company to help but was rejected. He was angry, but when he turned around and saw me, His anger disappeared immediately. Rowan Liu said awkwardly, I don't usually discipline my son like this, I can't bear to do it, this time is an exception. Jiang Mian. I'm trying to get a project from the Fu Group recently. I'm confident that I can do it well. Can you ask President Fu to give me some convenience? Inconvenient. Oh, that's okay. I was abrupt. Rowan Liu smiled awkwardly, as if he wanted to say something else. I answered the phone and walked past him. Hey, honey, I'm almost there. No need to answer it. I'm not a child anymore. The past is like a cloud of smoke. The person who once made me so miserable that I wanted to end my life no longer has the qualification to stand by my side.